So tell me about Modern Muse, because that you've launched that
because of that
really to address
November,
that issue.
not long ago.
And
you're a muse.
I am. I love it.
Which we're just delighted about. And so, November, and we've got hundreds of muses now, and they're doing amazing stuff. And what's really great is they're reporting it back and blogging it, and we're getting some real insight into the thinking of young girls.
So when you say amazing stuff, what are they doing?
One-on-one mentoring, or talking to big groups of girls in different schools,
school
assemblies, or smaller, sort of more interactive groups.
Job placements.
Taking
internships. We have had one of our muses, Wendy Hallett, who was running a competition of girls to. She set them off on tasks to go out and do, to design something in the retail space, and came back and judged it, a bit like a Dragon's Den type thing. And the prize for that was an internship. In her company,
you should do something like that, Liz. Be great.
So great.
And what's happening is that they're all sharing the ideas. So that's really good, because the thing is, a lot of people are doing this anyway.
Yeah.
The project is about being able to be part of a whole bigger picture and share ideas.
So tell me about what the motive was, because you did some research at the beginning, didn't you?
Well, it came about because we started to get a very strong vibe, and there was a big conversation going on amongst a lot of the successful women that we meet. And one of the things we love about our job, I worked it out the other day, we meet about 5,000 women face to face a year. So we kind of know what's going on in their heads. Yeah. And there was a big conversation about the concerns of young girls and this issue around seeing where their ambitions were, and the celebrity culture issue, and about a huge proportion of them are ambitious for wanting to be rich, wanting to be famous. And what we found was that their role models were very, very narrowly defined in terms of what they are exposed to via magazines, media, all forms of media.
Yeah, I mean, they are, and this is probably one of the downsides of technology, young girls or young people are bombarded, non-stop messaging coming at them about what's cool, what's going on, what success looks like, how beautiful you've got to be, how bright you've got to be, how thin you've got to be. All of these messages are coming down the wire at girls non-stop. And the role models that they're seeing are in their immediate environment, mother, neighbours, whatever it might be. And then what's thrown at them through the media, and what they're seeing through the media is not realistic, and it's not actually very inspiring. There are a few people in the world that will make it and be famous if that's what you want, but other than that, you're going to have to make your way in the world. And unless you know what's out there, and unless somebody is telling you that the world of work can be incredibly rewarding, then you're not going to know that. You're going to know that you're not hitting all of those other visions of success that the media
striving to be the next Victoria Beckham or Cheryl Cole, it's quite unrealistic, because there's very few of them, and yet there are thousands and thousands and thousands of women having great lives. I mean, I always remember when we talked about your first speech, you saying that it wasn't until you got on a phone that you felt like you'd come home and that you really hit your stride in what it was that you were good at. And that takes some exploring as a young person, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So what we wanted to do with Modern Muse was say, right, okay, let's get all of this talent and let's get it in front of these girls so that they can see that there are a number of opportunities and a number of ways to have a great, fun life.
Yeah.
And actually
also hear the story, because it doesn't just land on your doorstep. You start reading in the Modern Muse book, yours and all those other founding muses' stories. Many had left school early, or had problems, or had taken very winding roads to get to where they wanted to get to.
The point of that is that there is no one route to success. Just because you don't particularly have a leaning towards academia and that you're going to go on to university doesn't mean to say that you don't have your own set of skills and your own talents that can be deployed somewhere.
So the Modern Muses, I mean, I'm doing some stuff with our local colleges and schools, which is really exciting, and had the opportunity to talk to a bunch of business students up at
And what did you
local
think
college.
about them? What was your overriding impression?
What was interesting, it was a conference, so I didn't actually get the opportunity to spend a lot of time face to face with them. But what was, in terms of on a one-to-one, but what was interesting was that the overriding message was hard work meets opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And
do they understand that?
I think that their mentors, their teachers, were very keen to get that across to both boys and girls, because I think one of the things that we've got into in our culture as well as, and another problem is this get rich quick culture. Yep. The whole, you can go for an audition and the next minute you're releasing a #1 record, or you're the UK supermodel of the year, or you're...
start a business and you become
#1 chef
rich really quickly,
not... Yeah, Dragons. Things like Dragon's Den are brilliant, but most of us don't get funding from from very wealthy entrepreneurs. So the whole celebrity culture coupled with the get quick rich, I think has taken this, and the nanny state that we've had for the last goodness knows how long, has meant that young people think there's no consequence to not working. If I don't work, there's benefits, there's mum and dad, I'll be looked after, and yet they're missing out so much. So I think coupled with the issue of lack of confidence, and then what I notice is there's not much of a bridge between business and education, which is what I think is absolutely fantastic about the Muse programme. Is it enables entrepreneurs, business women, to open a door into an educational facility and have the opportunity, because at the end of the day, all of us need to recruit talent. You guys do. You have as many problems as I do, I'm sure, recruiting incredibly talented people into the organisation who are ambitious. And that's what we all want. We all want that, people with creative thinking skills.
I think so. And I totally agree with that. And I think the thing about Muse is, at the end of the day, teachers can't be expected to know what the world of business is like, and all the different career opportunities. How could they possibly know that?
Yeah.
But those of us who work have some insight. It's just simple common sense to take it to the next generation and pass on your experience.
Yeah.
And for those children who, are perhaps even more disadvantaged because they haven't got parents that can give them perhaps that insight, it's doubly important that we make the time and put a bit of effort in to make a difference in a young girl's life.
Comes back to everything you talked about earlier about the social businesses, doesn't it, really, in terms of, if we are going to make a difference to our country and its future, it really is about sharing our time more often with other sectors like education, perhaps even mentoring in NHS trusts and all sorts of different things, but actually expanding. Business knowledge is relevant across the board, isn't it? And
absolutely. Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
There's also, talking about the confidence piece as well. For young women who are in the workplace, it's a great confidence booster and builder to go out and talk to young girls.
Yeah.
You can't
and
really
it's fun.
It's fun, and you can't really fall flat on your face, can you? Speaking to a bunch of
I
girls.
don't know.
I don't know. I think they're
I
kind of I think they're harder than business people sometimes.
Well, put it this way: you haven't got to go back and face them.
No. So don't hide the yawning.
So it's a great thing to do, and it builds skills.
I think you're right. I think mentoring will always be, mentoring a younger person will always be the biggest challenge in.
And very insightful for you as well as the mentor. I mean, mentors and mentees both get something out of it.
I think mentoring is one of the keys to really changing the culture. And we've actually developed a really fantastic mentoring program, because I think actually mentoring is a little bit misunderstood, and it's done in a very informal way, and actually it's quite a big responsibility to mentor somebody. And so we've done a lot of work around that, which is quite exciting, because I think, having had great mentors in my life, but informally, mentoring can change so much for you.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, I think in business life, that's one of our biggest challenges from a mentoring perspective. I was up at something with the Chartered Management of the Institute of Chartered Managers, and they were talking about the fact of the difficulty in getting managers to take responsibility. Getting responsible managers, and the level of management in this country is weak, and it's because
it used to be one of this country's strengths.
Absolutely, so but it's because mentoring's gone.
Right.
You used to have, directors that mentored the next layer down really well, knew how to draw out talent, knew how to identify it.
I think actually, going back to your thing about the nanny state, I don't know that the nanny state's the right thing, but I think, there's a very different style that goes on in the workforce now, and some of that is for the good. But I think people that manage other people have been quite scared about just what they can and can't say, how they can say it. You become very, very watchful and wary about that kind of stuff, because absolutely. I know I'm very different now than I was. I've been working in business for nearly 35 years, and I managed huge, big teams at very young age, late 20s. But I did it very brashly.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to worry a lot about stuff. But, I think I think that's why people have pulled back and they're not mentoring so much. And which is why we've put a structure around it, actually, because I think people are concerned about any relationship you go in today. There seems to be some guidelines behind it, doesn't there?
I think legislation is a hard thing, isn't it? I mean, to make people do things by legislating it constantly instead of appealing to them and inspiring them and going about it that way is such an odd. Yeah,
that's the whole issue about quotas, isn't it, for women on boards? Yeah. Which we, came out last week and said it's not something that we would like to see, because I think we would like to get there without it. Like you said, I mean, it's about the business case. It just doesn't make sense what's happening. So let's just.
I think one of the other challenges, we were talking about how technology has played such an important role in, flexible working and all the rest of it. But one of the downsides about technology is it is coming at you constantly. So this, going back to mentoring, finding some time and space to mentor in your life requires effort. You've actually got to say, I'm going to switch my BlackBerry off, and I'm going to put the phone on divert, and I'm going to allocate X amount of time to do this on a regular basis. And it's just so much easier not to. And to just be trying to keep on top of your work all the time.
Yeah, that's a constant conversation, isn't it? I'm so busy, I never have enough time.
Now, if there was going to be a flagstone that you would like to reach, what would it be?
I don't think we'll reach it in our lifetime. But obviously we would like to just see women raising their levels of confidence and represented equally across everything. Political life, business life, academic life. But I think for us, what we want to do with Every Woman is just get as many women and men involved as possible. It's a very inspiring community. And I think take that globally, really. Yeah. Because I think that will be really interesting to be able to get the conversation going across borders. Yeah. So for us, it's about just getting the word out there and getting more people involved and seeing how they can. Our community isn't just about what you can get from it; it's about what you can give to the community, and that's what people love about it. Really, it works both ways, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
If there's someone out there who's wanting to start a business and could do with some support, the website for Every Woman is
everywoman.com.
Everywoman.com. And there's your conferences are incredible, aren't they? I mean, how many conferences do you do a year up and down the country?
Well, we don't do that many offline anymore. We do one in Scotland, and we used to do them all over the country. Yeah. And then we do a very big one, as you know, in London. Yeah. And the reason that we don't do them all over the country anymore is because actually, this is technology. Yeah, we're doing webinars. A lot more online with webinars and also we affiliate with a lot of organisations that do hold regional events. Yeah. And people like to travel to the big one.
Yeah.
And we're a small country.
Yeah, we are.
So it's not like, you're leaping across the outback.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to get you back on the train. Thank you for coming in and telling me, giving us that insight. And I'll see you soon.
Good.
Yeah, fantastic.
Congratulations.
Thank you.